Good morning everyone, welcome back to another video. Continuation of this series, which is building up to the big old Mallorca 312 event in a couple of weeks time. A little endurance ride this morning, and then I'm doing the local club 10 mile time trial tonight. So I thought I'd center this video around like how to build up for an evening time trial. So I want to take you through my day and how I prepare for this time trial. I'll talk about like weather conditions and how I plan on tackling it as well. So maybe you can pick up on a few things and use it in your own time trial scenario. Sometimes like so caught up in trying to get the training done correctly, and of course tonight is a time trial, my first time trial of 2022, so I'm also a little bit nervous about the effort. It's a big effort, isn't it? 20 minutes. There's a reason why I'm doing this time trial today, 2 days after my big 210k interval training ride. It's to test my recovery, and of course it is to test my 20 to 24 minute power really, because that's something that I will require both at the start of the Mallorca 312, but also my Saclobra PB slash how close can we get to the KOM attempt, which will maybe happen a couple of days before. I put a post out on Instagram, and there's a number of you actually going to be out there. So I think we should try and get some sort of meetup happening when we're out there, and we can all try and attempt a PB attempt at the same time. So this effort tonight is pretty important for me. It's pretty important for me to get right as well, just so that I can learn from it and get some information, valuable information, power, effort, feedback, everything that will serve me in a couple of weeks time.
Right, I'm really chuffed to myself actually, because I managed to get all the way out to the time trial course, which took me an hour because we got a heck of a headwind. I don't know if you can see the rushes just over my shoulder there in the field, so they're blowing in that direction. I'm getting the wind in my face now. So the road we're going to be doing the time trial on is just here. We'll be going that way and then this way. The reason why I wanted to come here, this is about a mile into the course. You start around this bend further on, which will be I'll show you some flags over there, but we'll have a headwind for the first couple of minutes, and then you'll come down this road to take you all the way to the turn, and we'll have a crosswind, so both ways, out and back. The top bit of the course kinks around again, so we'll have another different direction of wind. It'll be a slight cross tail and then a cross head. So I'm glad I could come out here. I'm gonna have a look on my windy app as well. I'll put it on my screen as I'm talking here. Okay, this is the final kilometer of the time trial tonight, coming back into Pembrey. As you can see, pretty clear run. I'm doing 25 mile an hour at 170 watts, so if the wind stays like this, it's gonna be fast coming back, guys. So I've just come around the corner from the last clip, and there's the flags.
Okay, I survived. I made it back. The wind was pretty strong, so I got back in no time at all. So first of all, why am I doing this TT, and what will I get out of it? Time trials aren't for everybody, I know, but how this effort matters for me, because these longer efforts now I'll have to start getting used to and preparing for and adapting to. So I'm going to show you the things that I study before I start any sort of time trial, and also goes for hill climbs as well, but time trial is slightly different. So with this time trial tonight, it's a simple out and back course. The actual profile, I mean, it couldn't be more simple than that. It is literally down, flat, 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 and then up this sort of, it's like a motorway climb for those of you that probably live where it's mainly flat. So I rode like this section earlier. So I rode out, I turned around, I came back. Now we know that the wind was coming from this direction here over Pembury Forest and to the right. So going out, I'm going to be having the wind on my left shoulder. But we know that, that's obvious. The important bit is like the pacing. You can turn up to almost every single time trial, even in this day and age in 2022, and people are still getting pacing wrong. Or maybe not getting it wrong, but there's always somewhere you can improve. And, you know, I'm not an exception to that. Like, you know, every time you will find there is something you can improve on. So if I'm just purely looking for like pacing help, I've signed up to bestbikesplit.com and I've used it for quite a number of years now. You obviously have to put in like your bike, your equipment, the stuff you're using, but generally speaking that doesn't really matter. What matters is like where do I put the power down and how much. You a sort of graph like this. Now here is obviously our course, and this is the out section and this is the back section. But as I move over this, you can see down here the arrow is where the wind's coming from on what will be me in the future. And you can see that that last section there is a tailwind. And I do agree, when I was riding back earlier, it was a full-on tailwind. Okay, so I don't need this to tell me, you know, when it's going to be hard, when it's going to be easy. But what it does do is it provides me an idea of when to produce the power and how much. So it's basically just a little trick of confidence, really, to allow you to, you know, go into the race with a little bit of a game plan. And what I always say on this channel is, as long as you execute on your game plan, it doesn't matter what the result is, you can have something positive to tick in the box afterwards. So for this one, I've actually gone out and I said I wanted to average about 380 watts. Now it gives me a goal time of 22 minutes, but let's just ignore that. 380 watts, that's what we want to try and attain tonight. And here, going out with this little bit of a cross headwind, with the wind a little bit weaker than what it is now, hopefully, we are going to be moving along at about 40 kilometers an hour into this sort of cross headwind, doing about 390 watts. Now, when we get to those climbs later on, we want to be doing more, you know, more power, obviously. Then it goes slightly downhill, less power. And then a lot more power on that climb that I was showing you right there. So that's a lot more power on that section. So once we descend that, we can back off slightly, and it's not completely backing off, obviously. Then we go back over, and now coming back in the tailwind, we're not doing 390 watts, we're doing 361 watts, 360 watts. But we're doing 54, 51 kilometers an hour, and of course we finish strong. Now, the major, like, the thing is about this is, like, a lot of people say if this was the other way around, it's all very well good having a game plan, it's another thing sticking to it entirely. Because what this is actually telling me to do is go off hard, like, go off very hard, and then deliberately, because I've invested my power where I should, if I want to come home and average 380 watts for this time trial, that is how I should average the 380, based on the weather conditions and based on the course. But having the discipline to do it is another thing entirely. It matters more that you are very careful in a headwind, because you know you can push more potentially in the headwind. And given that the headwind's in the first part of this time trial, it'll test my discipline, because, you know, I'm gonna have to be not holding back, but being careful, knowing that there's still 15 or 20 minutes left of the time trial. That is that. We will see what sort of time we do, and we'll see if we can stick to it. But it's all very interesting stuff. Hopefully you are interested in it. Sorry if not, and I've spent the last couple of minutes boring you, but I find this interesting, and it makes me faster. So I'm gonna have my pancake now, and then I'm gonna have my pre-race meal, which is probably gonna be a big bowl of porridge or oatmeal for you guys in America, and I'll catch up with you then.
So an interesting little acceleration there from Pierre Latour.
Basque Country's on, Charlie's home, I'm having a snack.
So I had a big bowl of porridge. I had some maple syrup in it and like a big spoonful of peanut butter in there. I really like afternoon porridge. I don't know why. I don't like it for breakfast, but I like it as a snack. Just made up an energy drink, Sturkit energy drink of 60 grams of carbs, which I'll sip on my way over to the time trial, which will just be a 45-minute ride. So away we go.
Well, this is stark contrast to this morning. The wind not as strong, thankfully. I'm doing the same wattage as I was this morning, but I'm doing about 8 or 9 kilometers an hour faster. So warm up wise, it's a 45-minute ride to get to the 10-mile time trial. I include a ramp of some kind in there, so the way I like to see my warm-ups personally, I like to keep them sort of half structured, half fun, depending on how I'm feeling. Today I went with a ramped warm-up, mainly just to get off the main road, of about 10 minutes, taking me up to FDP. And now the second part of the warm-up I normally do just before I start, and that would be 40-20s, so 40 seconds at the power I plan to hold for the first 5 minutes of TT, 20 seconds recovery, and I do that about 3 or 4 times just to prime me ready for that F off the line. This will pretty much be my setup for the evening. I'll take the saddlebag off, obviously. I'm probably going to ride in a skin suit with arm warmers, bare legs, and I might wear my full finger gloves, my like spring full finger gloves. So not full aero, but good enough.
21, Will and John, 34 feet. John Williams, 28.07. Brian Davis, 28.42. Bethany, 27.55. Keith, 27.25. Andrew, 26.05. Josh, 24.22. Jamie, 24.30. Danny, 23.49. Myreg, 23.38. And Ed, 21.44.
Cheers, let's see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Look at the sun. Well, that was a truly fantastic effort. Really enjoyed that. I think I even managed to squeeze out a new best 20-minute power, or even 22-minute power for this year. About 384 watts. So my pacing actually went a little bit out the window. Turns out the wind died down a fair amount, so it was more of a negative split strategy than a positive, even though coming back I was definitely going faster. In fact, I was probably hovering around like 47, 48 kilometers an hour. I was down here for most of the time trial, so what's really nice about these black ink bars is they're quite flat, so when I'm sort of on the lever, my forearm is resting on the bar nicely, so it's actually easier to ride there than it was on my old round bars. And even better news is that I feel great afterwards, which is obviously another sign of fitness, like fast recovery. You don't always have to put out better power. Sometimes you notice your fitness is good when your recovery is good. So this has definitely left me all smiles. And get back now, fuel up, and back out on the bike again tomorrow.
So I'm mega chuffed at that, obviously, but it's only the beginning. Although we're 3 weeks out from the Mallorca 312. Next week, Beic Cycling Club are doing a 15-mile time trial, which I'll definitely try and make that next Thursday evening. Okay, so here we have Strava. This is the source extension, by the way. So over here we have 20 minutes 384, which is 6.4 watts per kilo. Normalized power 385. Average heart rate 173. Everything's there for you to see. Yeah, 44.1 k an hour. I mean, fair play. This bike moves even on the flat, and you can see there where the speed picks up, my power drops, and then coming back, I don't know what I actually did here, but it must have been pretty decent. 392 watts for the final 7 minutes. So it was pretty much like a negative split. I couldn't be more pleased with that. And hopefully that was for just shy of 22 minutes. So 383 watts, 6.4 watts per kilo for 22 minutes. In the 15 next week, I'll vlog that as well. So you got that to look forward to. I actually prefer the 15 mile time trial. It suits me a little bit better, being that it's slightly longer, roughly about 10 minutes longer. So WKO, the software that I use to delve into a bit more deeper analysis, has my model FTP at 372, which is 7 watts higher than what Training Peaks has it as. But this is obviously modelled off of various efforts. So this effort tonight has just sort of added to that sort of calculation then. My time to exhaustion has dropped, so as my FTP is going up, my time to exhaustion, so the length of time I can technically ride maybe at that power, has dropped to 33 minutes. So the 15 mile time trial next week is probably going to take me around 33 minutes, so it's pretty handy to have that as a reference, knowing that next week it'll be pretty accurate now that I've done this 20-minute effort, 370 to 380 for 33 minutes, in which case it will then update the model again. So it's all about, you know, training is testing, testing is training, etc, etc. So I've got a chart here as well in WKO, which is my 20-minute weekly peaks over like the last, since May 2019. So the one I've done today is obviously 384 watts. And the last time I did 384 watts for 20 minutes or more was the 24th of August 2020. So 2 years ago, I did 388, so 4 watts more. In fact, looking back, today's effort is like up there in the top 5 best 20-minute power I've done like in the last 3 or 4 years, which also means it's up there with my top 5 best ever 20-minute power efforts. And it's actually come earlier in the year than any of the others as well. Like usually this time of year, I'm banging out 360 to 370 watts in the 370s. So this one today is a rare moment. That'll be pretty good. If I can do 6.3, 6.4 watts per kilo next week for 33 minutes, then I'll know that we're in good shape. So that's going to wrap up this video. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and supporting. And I'll see you in the next one.